Mike Draco tearing ass into the studio first tonight. Cincinnati in the house. Chris Summer Simmons. Why do I keep trying to do that? She's in second. Hey man, this is Chris with Cycle Source Magazine. Your audio. Sorry about that. Jeremy Sather checking in. Nancy Weems. Mohawk Mike Motorcycles. Brad Kilpatrick. Dothan, Alabama, down by Brother Barry. Steve Henderson, hey now. Russ Journey in from Kearney, Nebraska. Minnesota checking in. Good to see all you guys here tonight. I'm Chris with Cycle Source Magazine, and if I remember to do my job and start the clock, we're on the 5-minute countdown to get started with this episode of Shop Talk. Super fired up. We got tons of stuff going on in the shop tonight. We got some product. We got some announcements. Sturgis is running at us like a runaway train. Cannot wait to get into it with you guys. Just under 5 minutes and we're going live. Enough time for you guys to hit the like and share button. Help us get this out further and further as we go. Shop Talk going live. All right. One of the three most important women in motorcycle media, Lisa Ballard, checking in with us tonight. So good to have you here. Dusty Dollar with us. Moto Fight Club, what's up? Kyle B. Maxwell from Georgia is in with us. Jason Sims out on Route 66 getting his kicks. Blast Gordon, what's up with you, buddy? Rod Duke, Sacramento, California. One man, woo, woo, woo. Good to see all you guys here tonight. Hey, if you're digging what we're doing here, man, I want to tell you a big part of making this happen is Choppertown. And if you don't know what Choppertown is all about, head over to the Choppertown Facebook or YouTube pages, and you will see hours and hours of motorcycle entertainment just waiting for you to waste an afternoon. Get in there and check them out. They do an incredible job for us, getting us out all around the motorcycle world, and we can't tell you how much we appreciate them. 3.5 minutes, we're going live with Shop Talk. Don't go anywhere. Tom Banks, rider number 21 from the Chase and Cannonball in the house with us. Charles Strachan from Connecticut. Jason Sims, I'm not ready to go home. Man, I can dig that. Shelton's in the house with us. Waldemar, good to see you here. Hey, I got to share some inside information on the show tonight with you guys. Don Gilmore, Chase rider 22 from Pittsburgh. I know that guy. So tonight on this show, the one and only legendary, probably most iconic motorcycle photographer of all of motorcycle, custom motorcycle culture, Michael Lichter, on with us, and he is actually bringing out some never before seen photography. It's going to happen on this show. Never before seen Michael Lichter photography. I hope you guys have been following along with him on his weekly excursion on Dennis Kirk's blog. He's doing a thing called Lichter Notes, and he's gone through a decade by decade chronicle of Sturgis. It's been absolutely priceless. So we're at the 2-minute mark, man. Hold on, grab a drink, sit back and relax. Shop Talk going live in under 2. Chris Simmons, we're missing you too. That was really good. Chris did an incredible segment every morning of the Chase called Coffee with Chris. And man, it was just such a nice way to start the day out there. If you guys missed the Chase coverage, man, go back to YouTube and Facebook and check it out, because we had morning shows, evening shows, stuff from the road. It was absolutely killer. Leanne Sims checking in from Arizona. Melissa, Greg McIlroy, going to... What does that mean, Nancy? Going to Ghost tonight. Rob Nussbaum in the house. That's our associate producer. Everybody straighten up, fly right. We're at the 1-minute mark, and we're going live with this episode of Shop Talk. David Crum, Aaron, New Jersey. After a successful fundraiser, West Milford American Legion Riders Post 289. Ashley Arnold here with us. Right on. Good to see all you guys, man. Under a minute. Hell, actually, I think 45 seconds is probably close enough that we can get this one out of the station and up onto the tracks. Let's go live with this week's Shop Talk. Here we go. Okay, scooter tramps and chopper jockeys from all across the land. It's just after 9 p.m. on the East Coast. Here in the Source Media Studios, that means it is time to go live with Shop Talk, coming to you 50 floors below the street level from the Dennis Kirk Motorcycle Studios. We go live with this show every Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern, or considerably thereabout, and mostly on that day, I should say. I'm Chris with Cycle Source, and I'm going to be your host this evening, and I'm joined by my cohorts in crime. What's up, everybody? How's everybody's week?
Howdy, howdy.
Boring.
What do you mean boring?
You know, I don't have a light.
Where you been?
I don't know. I'm so intimidated by this group tonight. I'm glad I did my hair and crap.
Last week.
I know. How exciting is this?
This is a heavy crew right here. Brian Klock, Shope, Taber Nash, Michael Lichter.
Right?
Better shut the door. Everybody pay attention.
So last week you sat there listless and didn't say a word.
I know. Isn't that great? I was on my babysitting job. I have a new babysitting job.
So it's been.
I don't know. You were pretty good on the show last week. You had a few witty comments.
Did I?
You know.
You did.
Didn't interject too much.
You had a different hat on, but.
Well, nobody called me to ask what the wardrobe was going to be.
No, we didn't have the shirt memo. Shirt memo wasn't out.
Damn it.
Yeah, man. So it's been a hell of a week. You know, like I said, we were out on the chase. We're just back from the chase. There's tons of news going on. So without any further ado, we're going to get right to it. In case you're wondering, what is this Shop Talk that we talk about? Every Sunday we go live for 90 to 120 minutes with all the bullshit we can fit. We have some entertainment. We bring some guests on. Usually start the whole thing off with a little program we like to call the news. First up in the news, and this is our sad obligation to report this. This is coming in from Fox 6 in Milwaukee. Nancy Davidson dies after battle with cancer. Nancy Davidson, known by many as the First Lady of Motorcycling, has died after a long-term battle with cancer. And I just wanted to start the show off by taking a moment of silence for one of the pioneers of everything that we do here today. All right, our hearts and prayers go out to her family. Next up in the news from the AMA, Indian Motorcycle partners with Veterans Charity Ride for the 7th annual Adventure Ride to Sturgis, returning combat veterans to use motorcycle therapy to help rehabilitate. This is a great program that they do every year, man, and like every year we report on it because they deserve the absolute most amount of kudos for doing this. Watch this, Mark. Heather, over to you.
I was actually just going to talk about the Veterans Charity Ride. We were very lucky enough to have him on, the founder of this organization, on a few years ago, and we really need to have him come back because
Absolutely.
It's not just about the ride. They do so much for the veteran community. It literally just, I think I spent most of the show in tears as he talked about the outreach that they do. I'm going to post a link to veteranscharityRide.org in the comments. Please go over, check it out if you can help. They are 100% legit and do more good than I think any of us could possibly imagine. So
Absolutely.
And that's the hard part, being 100% legit.
Yeah, right.
A lot of
exactly.
these companies steal so much that the vets don't get anything. It's nice to actually see somebody who gives it back.
Yep.
Yep.
All right, man. Kudos to them. Next up in the news, and also in from the Harley Davidson people, everyone is talking about the new Sportster. The Sportster S delivers unrelenting performance. Next generation Sportster motorcycle combines unbridled power with contemporary technology. 100 years after Harley Davidson's founders arrived in the United States, the world saw the birth of the Sportster back in 1957. This one now changing it up a little bit after so many years of the Evolution motor power in the Sportster. They are moving to what they're called the Revolution. MSRP of $14,999, and we are waiting to bring you guys more information about this. I suspect my trip out to LA on Tuesday is going to be riding this very model.
Pat Patterson hasn't slept in 5 days.
Yeah.
So-
How you going to be the king of the Sportster if you can't jump in on that shit, boy?
That's right. Get it, bitches.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
And maybe it's just me because I'm not as motorcycle savvy as you. Does that remind you of the Scout 60 at all?
You know, it does a little bit. I'm torn because I'm so excited about this motorcycle. I really am, you know, in spite of there's a lot of traditional haters out there. I'm excited that Harley's doing this. I'm excited that it's going to be more performance based. I believe, like I said in that short article, that this may be one of the first times that Harley Davidson actually hit a trend like square between the eyes.
Yeah, right.
At the same time, I lament the fact that, you know, the Sportster has been for quite some time traditionally the entry level motorcycle. Like,
Lament.
yeah. I'm working on my vocabulary. Don't hate a brother for trying to bring himself
He
up.
just said lament.
All right. Well, listen, we're going to take a break from the news. There's tons more. So stick with us throughout the hour. We're going to break
You guys
right
do the
now
good stuff?
so we can get to our guest of the hour, Mr. Michael Lichter. Help me welcome him to the show. Mr. Lichter.
Hey, I'm here.
Looks like we shocked you. Snuck up on Michael.
Wow. A little too much screen time today, I think. 4.5 hours Zooming so far.
Jesus.
Wow.
Is that crazy?
And remember, a year ago, you were still just getting hip to Zoom, right?
You know, everybody is so busy right now. And Sturgis coming. My wife said, you know, it's okay to take a little breather once a week. And I'm going like, no breathers.
What is that?
No breathers. Can't come up.
No.
Wow.
So
That's crazy, huh?
the chase was insane, right? I mean,
And it was great being with you guys. That was so cool being with Source Media.
it was
Watching
a lot
you
of
guys
fun.
in action.
It was a lot of fun. It was a good proving ground for the Roland studio, but it was also great. Like, you know, no matter how many times we go on rides and we take pictures of people, it's not the same as watching somebody's reaction when Michael Lichter rolls up next to them backwards on a motorcycle taking their picture. It's just, there's a phenomenon that happens there, you know.
It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
So a lot
No
of work,
complaints.
a lot of work too, because I know you were up as late into the wee hours as we were, you know, editing footage and editing
Oh,
pictures
God.
and getting posts out and lots of stuff. So I want you to start out. Obviously, we've asked you here tonight to talk about the Motorcycles Art exhibit coming up in Sturgis and everything else with Sturgis. But first and foremost, I just want you to take 2 minutes and talk about your new position with the folks at Dennis Kirk with the Lichter Notes.
Well, that's been really cool. Bob Bean, he's the president over there. He called me up a few months ago and said he'd love to do something together. And it was all his idea. And it was basically, it's kind of amazing because with there being fewer magazines and fewer pages out there, outlets are really important. And they gave me this outlet. And this is pretty full-length feature material. You know, it's 1,800 to 2,000 words, which I typically do not get in a magazine. So what we did is once a month, I'm doing Sturgis by the decade. So there you can see Sturgis in the 70s. Then I did the 80s, 90s, and this week I posted Sturgis in the 2000s. Next month it'll be Sturgis in the 2010s. And it's been a great chance for reflection, looking back. And it's not, I mean, it's on Sturgis, but really it's on America. It's our history. It's our culture. It's who we are and who we were and how we
Absolutely.
got to where we are. So I really love it. It's it's a buttload of work. I'm a slow writer. I'm a photographer. I'm not a writer. So
You're a phenomenal writer.
Yes,
though.
you are.
You really are. Like you need to write more for us. You do such a great job.
I am a slow writer. It's a struggle, but and part of it is that I rewrite. So, but I'm pretty happy with what I do when I post. I also, in between the Sturgis ones, I did one on Roland Sands, but not just on Roland and not just on. It wasn't a bike feature. What it was the Glory Stomper, and that was a bike he built in 2004 for Discovery when he went up against Arlen Ness. And I went down. I was actually out in California. Went to Arlen's when he was building his. Top Banana bike, which was for that build. And then I went to Puerto Rico for the finals of that. And in this, there's some shots from Roland's shop and his working and riding in Indy and his other contemporary stuff. But I really use this bike as to how this bike was instrumental in its impact on the custom bike world. I think it created a whole new generation of builders, or changed the way builders thought about custom bikes.
Undeniably, right? for the V-twin industry, this motorcycle set the pace for what people are calling the performance segment now.
Exactly.
Absolutely. But I think
amazing. This started as a bagger. That bike started as a bagger.
What I really have to say though is I think for your first portion of the heavy metal show, which was last year, I really think there were quite a few motorcycles in that show. We actually did a special piece on it in Cycle Source. I think there were quite a few motorcycles that in one way or another individually represented a placeholder in time of the evolution of the custom motorcycle segment.
Well, I hope so. I mean, that's what I tried to do. Last year we pulled a feather out of my hat there in terms of, it was COVID and people were having trouble getting their bikes done and all sorts of issues that came up. So what I did is I said, okay, same theme, 20 years you've been building. These are the people that have survived the ups and downs of the industry and of our economy in general, of the whole world, global economy, and they're still in business. And so the idea was, okay, skip the new bike for now. We'll come back to that next year. Get me an old bike that was a significant bike that has relevance in terms of who you are and where you are in your career now. And that's what we had last year. I thought it worked really well.
I think every one of your shows have worked really well out there. For some crazy way, you find a way to
set the tone.
Yeah, set the tone, present something new. How you find a way to make something new every year in the same events just sort of blows me away sometimes. I don't know how you come up with the ideas.
Well, I actually have my plan for 22 and 23 already laid out.
Nice.
So I'm excited going forward.
Tell me it doesn't include Chris.
Heather.
Next year's does not. I wrote Chris out of it next year, Heather, just for you.
Oh, now I feel bad. It's his 25th anniversary next year.
Yep.
It's a catch-22.
And we're building a bitchin' 49 panhead to honor the 25th anniversary.
I'm going to make an announcement right here on Cycle Source Media, because I think it's a good place to do this. I'm going to say that next year my plan is to have builders in the exhibition that have never been in my exhibition. Now, I've done it for 20 years. You're talking about over 300 builders have been in my shows.
Yep.
So I'm looking for new people. There'll be a lot of young people that we've never heard of. There's going to be people that are garage builders that have been building for 40 years.
That's awesome.
So I'm trying to give a voice to the people that haven't had a voice, right? Or at least in my shows they haven't. And maybe they haven't been to Sturgis. And so bring this whole new group. I think it's going to be really cool.
Oh, I
and
love
exciting.
that idea. That's awesome, Michael.
Hey,
I'm excited about
remember,
this. I'm charged.
You guys heard it here first. Michael Lichter's announcement for next year's Motorcycles is Art.
Jeez, another first on Cycle Source Media.
Well, no, it's something to look forward to.
Right? Because typically, it's very hard to get Mark excited.
Well, I'm not going to be there this year for sure. So I'm definitely going to miss this year. But, next year, it's always cool to come back in and see something new. And that's going to be new, not to see people like, Patterson and Paul and, Taber and us and, Billy Lane and Aaron Green, to see some new blood, to see some new ideas. And something I think a lot in that takes from seeing what these guys had picked up from people like,
Yeah.
you know, Pat, Taber.
Yeah, man, I'll tell you,
It'd
there's
be nice to
there's
see how they inspire.
Right, yeah,
good
right.
point, Mark.
Yeah, it's
There's
Very
great.
good point.
there's more activity going on in the garages across America
Oh, yeah.
now than for many years. I
Oh,
mean, it's fertile ground.
Yeah, and for as much as you see these amazing builders out there, it's crazy how many you don't ever get to see. So that's a great idea to bring people out of the woodwork.
No, I love that. The
Well,
comments
yeah.
are growing crazy. Everybody loves this idea,
Yeah.
Michael.
Well, you know, I invite people. I hope they wait till after Sturgis because I'm so swamped right now. But I'll be really welcome to see pictures of people's bikes and who they are and learn of new people. And a lot of that will happen through social media. And this isn't the first time I've done this. I mean, in a way it is because that is the parameter of the show. And that's why I said to Heather that Chris has written out this year. You've been in it three times or 4 times.
Yeah, no, I'm very
Wow.
lucky. So I
A
don't.
trifecta.
I couldn't complain at all.
3 wonderful bikes. But I did have a show called, it was just on millennials. And so a few of those had been in before, but it really focused on younger people that hadn't been seen. And that was great. One year it was on Born Free Builders. And I'll tell you, I don't think any of those guys had ever been to Sturgis before. So I love bringing new people to Sturgis, turning new people on to Sturgis, and turning Sturgis on to builders they're not familiar with.
Right on. Well, listen.
So-
I
Speaking
love
of
that
that,
it's the complete antithesis of this year and last year.
Exactly.
That's
That's
so
sort of what I
great.
like to do.
So great.
Wink
Thank
Eller
you.
is in the house. Welcome, Wink. Good to see you. Dan Toast is
Oh,
here.
how cool to see Wink.
So
I want to go to
good.
his shop.
So listen, without further ado, you have asked some of your builders from this year's exhibit to come on, and the first cat that we have
Oh,
up.
you know, could we roll through a few pictures before we do that?
Sure.
Otherwise, we may not do
Oh,
it.
I'm sorry. You did have your pictures before. Yeah, this, and you want to just go ahead and curate this, and I'll get out of the way.
Just briefly, just roll it, and we could talk about it.
I'm excited to talk about some of this as it pertains to the then and nows, but
Some of these are very recent. This is, I think, 2018 at the 18 because the 115th anniversary. And anyway, I just love it. This is out of the starting gate, and I call this one, what did I call it? And I just named all these. So this is Bradford Beach Brawl, Milwaukee, 2018. And I just love the feel coming out of the gate, and the sand is just flying, and the light is so cool. And I know it's hard to see on screen like this, but the print is gorgeous. So
it is.
I'm looking forward, and hopefully all the prints are like that I could say that the prints look great. We could just roll through, and we don't have to take a lot of time so we can get our builders on. This one here is, I just added this one also, and I call that simply Feedlot, Dodge City, Kansas, 2016. That's on the Cannonball. And if I don't know if you could zoom in a little bit, but I just love the feedlot. It's the cows, they're backlit and
Yep.
kind of glancing off. He's on a 100-year-old Henderson flying by, and that could have happened 100 years ago. It would have been a dirt track, right? And
and a cotton shirt.
cotton shirt and a little different feedlot looking thing. Let's
Yep.
roll to the next. Oh man, does that say a lot, right?
Right,
That's 1981. You got to zoom in for the audience there.
baby. Look at those leather cuffs.
Yeah, right.
Oh, I know.
You know?
I love everything about this. And was this in New York, Michael? You just told me about this photograph.
This is in New York City in 1981, and this guy just stopped to say hello, right? And I had to get a picture of him. So there's no bike in this picture. It's one of the very few pictures that doesn't pertain closer to motorcycling in that not more than the Free Sunny shirt, but it just has this attitude that's so 1981.
Yeah, I don't know what's more intimidating, his look or the Free Sunny shirt. You know,
There you go.
that thing's
And
screaming
you know what?
motorcycling.
To me, I like what goes on in the edges. I like even the advertisement.
Look at
on
the
top of
cars.
the car and
Look at
and
the cars.
Yeah, it speaks volumes, doesn't it?
Yep. Fantastic.
Oh, so now this one, I call it Am Jam in the Jungle, and it was 1986.
Okay, so
And by the way, I met Pulsating Paula at this event.
no kidding.
Yeah, that's where I met her. But that's not her in the tree. But she may have been taking pictures of the same woman. I don't know. And there's just something about it that it's like, what's she doing up in a tree? And what's the bike doing up in the tree?
Well,
And then
this
look
is
at
what I
people's
want to say.
faces.
anybody who has only started to go to Sturgis 10, 15 years ago, can you imagine this shit going down in Sturgis today?
Sturgis.
Everyone watching would be arrested.
Yep.
You know?
Zoom in on some of the faces here. It's just so nonchalant.
Yeah, they don't even really look that
Pictures
impressed. They're like,
hanging. Yeah, I love the truck in the background and the pup tents and
Yeah.
look, this guy
What year
over
was
here.
this, Michael?
This guy over here, he's looking at his buddy's panhead. He's not even
1986.
paying attention.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. There's something about it. I
again,
just like the attitude.
If you're familiar with these kind of events, that's sometimes not out of the ordinary back then. So
Yeah. Zoom in on the guy in the middle there. You know, this. If you notice his sign, I just call this Vets Party, New York, 1986. It's also that same AmJam event.
Where's the sign?
And
Oh,
you know what's
there
kind
you
of
go.
amazing is you look at these people and they're Vietnam vets that are maybe 13, 14 years out of the war, you know?
Yeah.
And they're still young and still early middle age. And
Look,
right now it's
guy in the hat has a completely unlicensed Harley Davidson shirt. That'll mark the time right there.
there you
know?
go.
That was before R.K. Stratman even knew what Harley Davidson was.
that's right.
You know,
So a lot of
ahead,
these
Mike.
guys are in their 70s now.
Wow.
So, I mean, I just always have to, when I look at pictures, that's why I like to date them and put a little information on it because it puts it in a context and sort of a historical thing. And you go, wow, you know, like Evos had only been out for 4 years and it's just a different time.
You know what I love most about this? I don't know. I can't blow in enough for it. If the only thing you could see was that shovelhead motor and that S&S teardrop air cleaner, you wouldn't know what year it was.
what time,
Right?
Yeah, there you go.
Drag pipes.
Oh, right on.
Cool. This one, the Belfouche Drags in 1986 also. So this is during Sturgis. We used to go to Belfouche to watch, to go see Pete Hill race.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I posted this one on my social media and
What year?
maybe that. This was 1986. And it was interesting. I posted, I think 2 of these pictures have been on my social media where I just said, hey, guys, what do you think? Should it go in the exhibition? Should I print it and frame it or not? And this got a lot of response. And most of it was quite positive. There was one person that said, oh, crop that guy out on the right.
No way.
No,
He's like,
that's great.
it. He's not.
Yeah.
He's not in focus, and you're like, what's he doing there? It takes away from the picture. And of course, if you zoom in and show the picture and just zoom in on the bike, you'll see it's just a picture of a bike. There's no context. And so this to me, there's the people in the background. There's no grandstands. It's just like people hanging out on the left side.
Yeah, what would that be?
I mean, it's a good picture. It's a good picture of a guy drag racing, but there's no context.
Every bit of dirt on that guy on the right made that bike good on that track.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you can see, you feel it, don't you? You feel like what it's like to be on the track and the teammate that just started him.
We've been those teammates.
Watch the results.
We've been those teammates. More
Right.
than that, I've been the photographer that had to get the swollen eyes from the alcohol pouring out of the back of
There
that
you
bike
go.
to get that shot.
And that's awesome because
That's right.
racing, my first time I raced in Sturgis was 90 or 91, and there was nobody there. It was just like that. It was desolate,
Well, Michael, what do you think if we let's take a little break from the pictures and we'll share the rest of your pictures after a little bit, and we'll get to your guests because I don't want to keep. They've been patiently waiting.
Okay,
in the wings
let's
for
get
us.
them on. There's only a few more pictures. We could do that at the end. That would be great.
So, if you want to introduce Mr. Brian Klock.
Absolutely. Brian Klock is a favorite. I remember it like it was yesterday. I don't know if it was exactly 1999, but it was about then. Could have been 98. I think it was 99. Brian pulling up in the driveway in a pickup truck with bikes in the back. And that was his first time in the studio. And he was so excited. And I remember him talking about his backyard garage shop and his dad and stuff like that. And just, it's been wonderful watching his career from those very humble beginnings to this amazing, almost empire that he's built. I mean, Clockworks is amazing. Let's bring him on. So it's great that he's in the show again this year for the umpteenth time. Right, Brian?
For sure. Getting a little grayer every year, Michael.
Wow. It's been a long ride, and it's been a really fun ride, Brian.
Well, and you were just talking about the first time I ever came to Boulder, and I'll say it for everybody here, and especially the guys and girls who are going to get the chance to be part of your new blood next year. If you ever get that opportunity, do whatever you can to make it happen. Seriously, Michael Lichter takes your Volkswagen, if you can, puts it in his shop, and it becomes a Ferrari. And so you're like, what? That's not my bike. No, really, it is your bike. And Michael, you do the magic, and you are the greatest ambassador for our industry. You have lit so many fires, started so many careers, done so much for somebody. Thank you for being the industry's greatest storyteller. I mean, period.
Yeah, you've been amazing in what you give back to the industry too. I mean, in so many ways, you've done so many charity rides and fundraisers and things like that through Clockworks. It's phenomenal. And of course, your Bonneville speed racing and all sorts of things that you've done. Let's bring on who's our next guest that we're rolling in?
I'm sorry.
We'll bring all four on, and then we can talk.
I wasn't ready.
You got me. You snuck up on Chris this time.
Okay, Mr. John Shope is going to be next with us.
Oh, now John Shope. John, I've not known as long, and John has never been to my Boulder studio, so Brian's going to have to shame him into coming up here sometime. But, John has been unveiling this diesel bike he's been working on really for a number of years, and he's been showing that online, and it's an exciting project, and he'll tell us all about it. But that's what he's going to be bringing to the exhibition this year. Let's bring John on.
Hey.
How you doing, Mr.
You all
Shope?
set to come in the show with that diesel?
Yeah, I'm trying, man. I was actually there today working on it some. Man, this thing's wiping me out. I got it, though.
What's wiping you out?
Just all the engineering and just making everything work. And, I mean, this thing's going to haul ass. This isn't some generator motor or whatever. This is 100 horsepower, 140 foot-pounds of torque. I'm going to be... You'll only pull up on my left side once. Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm a diesel freak. I love that.
That's awesome. That's going to be so much fun. Who's our next guest that we're rolling in? We'll get everyone on so we could all talk together.
How about now we bring in Mr. Michael Lafountain?
Okay, now Michael, I met at the Hand-Built show, and I love his work. And it was actually, I think, a couple of times, I think they were both Hondas, but beautiful cafe racers. The guy is a perfectionist, and he is so meticulous in the work that he does. And so I'm so happy to have a bike like that in the exhibition, and it contrasts to some of the choppers or diesel bikes that are appearing. So it's going to be a very different bike. Let's bring Michael in. Michael's with Racia in California. And it looks like he's in his shop.
I am, yep. Yeah, I guess I would be definitely representing the opposite side of the motorcycle world, but it's definitely going to be a departure from probably a lot of the bikes in the show, but I'm excited.
Now, have you ever been to Sturgis before?
I've never have, no. So it's, it's always this, yeah, it's always this thing when you're, I knew about Sturgis as a kid, and it's this elusive crazy gathering, and I've never been. So it's
excited for you. Excited for you.
It's the Super Bowl.
You've never been there, and I've never been to your shop, but I will say that based on what I'm seeing as a background right there, I am coming to visit.
Yeah.
That is gorgeous.
Anytime. Thank you.
That is a beautiful shop.
Yeah, the bike this year, it's funny that you were mentioning all the detail and stuff. The bike this year is a little bit of a departure from my normal work, but it's a really important bike for the show for me because it definitely represents what the show is about. It's a bike it's the second bike I ever purchased when I was a teenager, and it kind of just traveled with me to all these shops all over California. Everywhere I went, I would, drag my tools and drag my bikes, and this bike just came with me over 20 years. And finally, I wasn't sure what to do with it. And I was, it was this very small bike, and I ended up chopping it. I was so afraid to chop it up because it's a really rare bike, and I just decided to do it. And it embodies everything that I've been doing, but it's really small. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to kind of stand out in the group, but it will be worth it.
Are you going to bring a bike to ride?
That's a good question. I'm not sure yet. Yeah.
I hope you do.
Better.
And on Wednesday, Cycle Source Media, for all our listeners out there, Cycle Source Media is sponsoring a ride that I'm part of, and that's on Wednesday. Kickstands up at noon. Usually we start gathering around 10:30 already at the Iron Horse, 11 o'clock in the morning. But kickstands up at noon, and we're going to head up to the mountains to up Nemo Canyon. For Van Acker Canyon is one of my favorite roads in the entire world.
Michael.
And I hope that you could enjoy that on one of your cafe racers. Wouldn't you agree, Chris Gallen?
Yeah, listen, I'm going to blow your mind right now. This is the 15th year that we've done our ride and our show in Sturgis. 15th anniversary. I know. Awesome. I can't believe it. It was like yesterday, and we were all still kids. Mark didn't even have a beard.
Nope. I didn't.
Well, you figure, Chris, you're coming up on 25 years of Cycle Source. That's almost half your life.
I know.
Wow.
Hey,
That's
nice reminder, Heather.
Right?
Now I need to find my way home without crossing a bridge.
She's just trying to count down the days. she's looking for amnesty.
You know what? We have another guest to introduce, but I'm going to just throw something out in the gauntlet here. That I don't know how this happened. Why isn't Wink Eller in this show this year?
I don't know. That
And
would be fantastic.
he's listening. And so I'm going to say, if Wink Eller has a bike that's been built in the last year, that's the requirement. It's built in the last year. I know he's been in business for more than 20 years. I would love to have Wink represented in this show. That would be, I know it would be a kind of a last minute deal, but wouldn't that be cool, everybody? What does the audience think of?
You're putting him on a hell of a spot. I don't think he has much of a choice right now.
That's fantastic.
As I see it, I don't see how Wink cannot be in the show.
Right?
Yeah, and if not, I think Wink's been working on that Studebaker. He could park it out front.
Well, we'll make room for the Studebaker.
Oh,
If
no
nothing
way.
else, if he gets it done, we'll
Put it in
the
front of the
Studebaker
bar.
in.
Right. Put it by the fountain, by the bar. Perfect.
I will do that. We'll have a car in for the first time if it's done.
Well,
Who's
Come on,
our
Wink,
next
drive it
guest
up.
to bring in?
next up is Mr. Tom Kiefer.
Tom Kiefer, awesome. Tom is from Pennsylvania, and I know he's a very close friend of Chris Callen. I should probably let Chris do the introduction here. But he was in last year with a beautiful bike that was built about 10 years ago, and he's been really happy. Actually, Chris, you finished the intro because you're real familiar with the bike he's building.
You know, Tom is one of those, if he was a car, they'd call him a sleeper. You know, he's been building bikes for years and years and years. He's been a friend of the industry for years and years and years. He's there doing stuff even when you know he's not. You know, he supports everything and he supports everybody. He always finds a way to lend his assistance, whether it's, you know, it's Sons of Speed helping everybody get ready for racing their motorcycles, or one day he called me out of the blue. He knew I was pressed for an event and he said, "Look, I'm coming out for a day or two." And he just showed up here.
We just wanted to come drink beer.
Yeah, well, I mean, there was that too, but he actually worked his ass off while he was
Yes,
here.
he did.
He's just one of the best people, man. And I mean, I feel like over the years, he doesn't get a lot of recognition because he doesn't ask for a lot, and he builds incredible shit.
He's a very hidden asset. That's for
And he
damn
helps
sure.
a lot of other people too.
Yeah.
I've seen him at Sons of Speed and Billy Lane's shop days before the event, chipping in on anything that needed to be done. He's always helping other people. I agree. And just for those that don't know, he's a retired motor cop, so he really does know how to ride. And he's put a lot of miles on his customers. Let's bring Tom on.
There you
How's
go.
it going, guys?
Tom, you excited about being in the exhibition with this new bike?
Well, yes. Last year was my first time.
After that
Last year was
build
my
up,
first time, and I tell you, it actually checked the block. But the block isn't what's important. What's important is that I've always wanted to be in that show. Always wanted to be in that show, and it really, really, it meant more than you guys would ever know.
Well,
That's awesome.
So
awesome.
Awesome.
So,
I built another bike
Michael,
this
if you
year.
know how many bucket lists your show is on.
right?
Like, that's literally a bucket list item for so many craftsmen out there.
So, Tom, we've been watching pictures of this motorcycle, but that's the actual bike, right? That's behind you. Look at that.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Right in his shop. Oh man, on cue, he just rolls away.
I got to see it in Gettysburg. It's more impressive.
I got
staring
a
at
collared shirt on. I got a collared shirt on because
I wanted to tell
you guys don't know is tomorrow's my 50th birthday.
Oh boy.
Oh,
So-
wait a minute.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Oh, that's right. You're the day before me. That's right. We talked about this. Happy birthday.
Thank you so much. So I've been at I was at a gathering earlier for a graduation party, and I actually thought it was going to be a surprise birthday party for me. So I got all dressed up, and it wasn't.
Geez, I was going to say at the beginning of the show, I was going to say, I hope we weren't tearing you away from a golf outing dressed like that.
Well, you know,
on a lighter note, I always thought you were older than that, so it's good.
Wow.
Jeez.
The guy with the beard. Nut shot from Gandalf the Grey.
It's just because he's retired.
Yeah, right?
I thought we had quality time last week.
Yes, we did. It was fun to hang out with you. You're always one of my favorite people to hang out with. Your great conversation.
I appreciate it.
Right
You know,
on.
while we're offering up happy birthdays for tomorrow, I got to say happy birthday to Dave Nichols. He's listening in,
Yes,
and it's
sir.
his birthday tomorrow also.
Well, wait a minute. And Michael, you have one on the 20th.
I do. We don't need to talk about
Hold on.
It's not quiet.
Hey, hold on. What about Easy Rider magazine
Yep,
coming back?
let's talk
Yes,
about
sir.
that. I was
We'll
just
come
gonna,
to that we'll talk about it at the end. We have too much to talk about. We will at the end of the show. We'll come back to Easy Riders, but for now, let's focus on the builders. Do we have one more person in the wings? Or we? Yeah, we do.
We
one
have
more.
Mr.
Taber.
Taber Nash is coming
Tabor.
up
Oh,
next, Michael.
Taber.
Oh, now this is exciting because Tabor is a big part of the show because Tabor has another business, and that's called Paths, and it's an app for your phone or for any device. And it's a way of connecting people, kind of like social media, like Facebook, but it's a way of connecting memories. Like you upload pictures, and everybody, if you all went to this party together, you all upload pictures, and you could share all your pictures and share your thoughts. And we are going to do that for the exhibition. We're going to be logged into Paths so that every bike is going to have its own QR code. So you go up to a bike and you do the QR code, and you'll see pictures of Tom Kiefer's bike that he's going to load to Paths, and they're all the pictures of him building the bike. Or maybe he writes a story about the bike, and there'll be other information about the bike. And you'll go up to one of my photographs, you click on the QR code, and you'll be able to hear me talking about the photograph.
Right on.
So it's pretty cool. And Taber, along with Scout, Anthony Underwood, who's doing all the design and graphics for that, doing a phenomenal job. I'm sorry I diverted from his motorcycle, but let's bring Taber on. He could tell us about his bike that's coming into the show.
Yeah, how are you guys doing? I'm glad to be here. Yeah, the bike that I'm building, I kind of went outside of what I normally do. I had this old 1940s knuckle frame sitting around for probably the past 10 years, and the thing had the bottom of the frame, part of it was chopped out, and the back section was chopped out. I mean, it looks like the thing was over in Germany and fighting the Nazis, and I'd always had this idea just to resurrect that frame and bring it back to life, and then stuff a newer knuckle motor in there and a 6-speed transmission, something that I could actually ride cross country. I had a ride, I rode back from Sturgis a few years ago, and I was on a Dyna, and I just felt so lame. Other guys are passing me on custom bikes, and I'm like, I'm a custom bike builder. I should be building, riding one of my bikes distance like I normally do. And so I got rid of that Dyna and put the money into this one, and that's been my mission, is to have this thing to be as a rider. So that's what I'm bringing. I'm going to bring it to the show. I'm going to ride it to the show. We're not going to wash it. Michael's going to shoot it, and then we're going to stick it on the lift, whether it's dirty and greasy. Sorry, Michael. Might be a little bit of dripping coming off of there, but.
That's no problem there. Do we have all our guests on? Can we see everybody?
We do, but hang on. I want to give you an update real quick. Winkeller says, hey, Buddy Row, I'm still finishing up the bike I was building when I got sick. If I can bring it, it's the only bike I have out of all my bikes I had to sell. But I could get it finished and have it there. So you have the go-ahead from
entry.
Wink. He said he'll take it.
Will the bike be finished?
He said he'll finish it in time.
Oh, we got to talk.
Jeez, Wink.
We got to talk, man.
That'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be a good one.
Nice.
An incredible addition
sir.
to the. Okay, so with that, let's bring everybody on, because that brings up the theme, and that's what I want to talk to these guys about, because the whole concept of this show was, it's called More Metal, but metal is spelled METTLE. It's the stuff that it's resiliency. It's what's keeps people going. And why do we go back for more? It's about passion. It's about being able to fall down and get up.
Amen.
It's being able to make mistakes and do it over and over and over again. And that's what these guys demonstrate. And I hope with my photography that I'm doing that as well, because I got over 40 years of making mistakes and learning from them, hopefully. But I want to know what all of you, and individually, it's so amazing the timing of this show, because not only it's like insult to injury. You've survived the economic crash of 2008, and some of the older guys in the show, Dave Perowitz and Donnie Smith, they survived the fuel shortages and the Iran hostage crisis and other economic downturns. But on top of all this, we've had almost a year and a half of dealing with COVID. So not to dwell on any particular thing and not politics, but just really, what does it take to survive? And I'd like you each to answer that question.
Who wants
to
first?
start?
Let's go in the order you guys came on. So start with Mr. Klock.
Well, for me, Michael, I'm with Chris. Next year will be 25 years of Clockworks.
Yeah,
and we're excited about that, right?
Wrong button. I'm sorry. That was my bad. My old eyes.
It's all right. Hey, we're running together hand in hand this whole way, and I'm excited about it.
Yes, sir.
But, I think the bottom line is, how do you – okay, so you just popped up a picture of the cherry bomb. That's my first ever Michael Lichter show I was in. Was in 2004. And, Michael, this will bring me back. Literally – I had 10 days to build. Brian. I had 10 days to build that bike. I got a call from, Caribbean Choppers. What is his name? No, Jose from Caribbean Choppers over in Puerto Rico.
Sure.
And he goes, "Hey,
Jose
how's
de
your
Miguel.
bike coming?" Yeah, and he goes, "How's your bike coming?" I go, "What bike? What are you talking about?" He said, "For the Michael Lichter show." I said, "I'm not in that. I never got invited." And he goes, "No, dude, you might want to check the internet." So I pull it up. This is 2004,
This is
right?
typical Lichter. Typical.
Yeah, I pull it up on 2004, and it says, bikes from Indian Larry, Billy Lane, Willie G, Brian Klock, and more. Well, if I had been in the and more section, I'm bailing, okay? Because I don't have anything. I called Michael, and he said, "Yeah, Brian,
one of these went dead."
When you were here, we talked about you building a, kind of a twin cam, but making it look like an old knuckle, because the theme of the show was Bob's back, to build a bobber." He goes, "So you're going to bring me a new style bobber?" And I'm like, "All right, but I'm going up against all these knuckleheads, panheads, all these cool bikes." And so I go, "Well, I'll do it, Michael," because that was a turning point in my career. I could either make it or be the out guy, right? And so I called Greg Wick, and his bike was in my shop. We were supposed to build it very Frisco style, ape hangers, high tank, the whole thing. And I said, Greg, I need your bike. I got to be in Michael's show, and I got 10 days. He's like, it's not really a style I wanted. I said, I understand. Okay, I'll buy it. I'll do whatever I got to do, but it's right here, and I got to tear it apart. He's like, okay. So Greg and I have been great friends. He has built unbelievable custom bikes since then with all kinds of people, but very cool. I tear it apart. And as I'm doing it, I'm going to paint the thing red with a white scallop. And one of my guys goes, "There's your cherry bomb you're always talking about." My dad always had cherry bomb exhaust on his 69 Chevy drag truck with a big block, and had that sticker on the dashboard. So at that time, I'm 4 or 5 years old, right? All I can see is the dashboard. I'm sitting on the seat because he didn't have car seats. He didn't have none of that stuff. All I see is a sticker. So cherry bomb's burned in my brain. If Mom would let you skip church on Sunday, you could go with Dad to the drag races.
Yes.
So I called Cherry Bomb up, and I said, "I need, a muffler, and I need permission to put your logo on my seat. Would that be cool?" And they said, "We don't understand what you're talking about. Can we call you right back?" I said, "Sure." They called me back, and I said, "All right, here's the deal. I need an effing $18 muffler." And everybody started laughing. I was on a conference call with all of their marketing people, all their directors. And I'm like, "Oh, my mom would be real proud." I said, "Can we start over?" And they said, "Well, Mr. Klock, we like your attitude. We're sorry you only have 10 days to do it." I said, "Well, we're now on day 8." So I got 8 days. And they said, "We'll send you 200 pounds of cherry bomb mufflers overnight tomorrow." And I got the mufflers. We got the bike. It's an old manure spreader seat. It's a little deuce turn signal I found in a bucket for a tail light. We painted the wheels white. Everybody was doing their wheels red at that time, and made the wheels actually look bigger. And now the oxymoron is Carl Olson's asking me what the hell I'm doing putting white wheels on my knucklehead. They're going to get oily. I said, I get it, Carl. I get it.
Awesome. Before we go to the next guy, I just want you to briefly say, and I love all the stories about Cherry Bomb because it brings back such great memories, especially. But what's your message? There's a lot of younger people or garage builders. How is it that you're still in business, Brian? You've not only done economic downturns and whatnot, you've had floods, veritable, real floods. So what does it take to survive?
Don't burn bridges. Don't be a jerk. You can make a name for yourself real quickly if you get on social media and start talking smack about somebody, because everybody loves that drama. Everybody loves that thing. But that might be a very short-lived deal. If you plan on being here, like Chris and I, for 25 years or Michael for 40 plus, just be good to people. When the flood happened, people from all over the world called me and said, how can we help? It was like going to my own funeral. I was humbled. I was shocked.
Right on.
I never knew anybody cared or that I did that much for somebody, that they would drive across the country and pick up a motorcycle or 8 and take them home and rebuild them. I mean, people were offering crazy stuff, so it's a testament to who you are and how you behave and how you treat others. So who's next in?
Mr. Shope.
Okay, John, you've seen the same thing, ups and downs and a bit of a roller coaster. How is it you're still in business? Why? Why are you still in business?
I mean, I don't know how to do anything else, but I can kind of tell a story like Brian. I mean, that was an awesome story. And the shop flooding, I watched that. He posted the videos, and it was just I always put myself kind of in other people's spots, and I thought of myself standing there in that water, and I was just beside myself. I'm glad he's back up and running, and that's really cool. Thanks,
man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, but for me, man, I kept trying with the choppers, and I got on this show called the Chopper Challenge. I built a bike for Seether. I won. I thought, I'm gonna have to hire 4 or 5 guys. Never happened. It was right when everything crashed. So I told my wife, I said, hey, I have one more idea, or I'm going to go do drywall or something. I really didn't know what to do. So I went and got a street glide. We cut the neck off, stretched the fenders. Brian was already doing his baggers at that time. Paul was doing his Bagger Nation. And I just came with something super extreme. Like it or not, it drove the industry for quite a while, the big wheel baggers. Granted, it got stupider and stupider, and I mean, I tapped out with the 26. Man, I don't know what they're doing now, but anyway, that's kind of my story.
So we can blame that on you.
Downs and a lot of work, right?
Well, it sounds like you just got to keep putting one foot in front of the other and believe in yourself. And when you fall down, you got to lift yourself up.
Yeah, the dirty tails are really doing good, man. I figured out how to make a soft tail ride and handle better, and man, those bikes are really doing good for me. And those are my babies, so pretty fortunate.
That brings up a point that I've always said, people comment about my photography and the work I've done over the years. And really, a lot of times I just say, it's just I've been doing it for a long time. I mean, you do something long enough, people are going to notice, and there's got to be something good in there. You just got to keep trying, right?
Absolutely.
So, and then occasionally you'll hit on what you did, or Brian with his windshield and some other products, and you're not gonna. That's not going to happen unless you keep trying.
Yep.
So who's our next up, Chris?
Who did we bring in next?
I think it was me.
Yep.
Yes, Michael.
So I would say it's a couple different parts. Neuroticism, a little bit of crazy, creativity. In the beginning of me doing this, I didn't know what it was, so I would try everything. And I think the most important thing was figuring out what I wanted to do, what felt the most like myself, and then exploiting that. And so in the beginning, I mean, I would just to stay in business, I wasn't sure if I was going to be. I didn't want to be tuning jet skis, when I was young, and But I tried everything, and really what it came down to was me. When it took off was when I decided to make the best of my ability, and that's when the bikes were getting picked up without me even trying. And so, if any young builder, I would say, staying in business is you really have to just do what keeps you awake at night. Those ideas and stuff that keep me up until 4 a.m. That's when things make sense. So.
And that's gorgeous right there. I love that bike. But
Thank you.
Mike, when did you start doing? What was your first Cafe Racer custom?
My first one was in 97, and so 96, 97.
In 97, I knew choppers. That was it. The custom world, and you were in a different world. So
there was no cafe world. That's what's interesting about it is there wasn't any reference. So it was kind of cafe stuff kind of went in waves, and I missed the 85 wave, which was a thing, and then a wave in the late 60s and 50s. So by the time I was doing it, no one even knew what that was. I didn't even know what that was.
I have mine in my truck.
So, nowadays you say Cafe Racer to any grandma, they know exactly what you're talking about. So it was kind of a open era for us. We didn't have any, all I had was like Cycle Trader for inspiration and the horse. I don't know if you guys remember the horse.
Oh yeah.
And the back of the horse, it had one non-chopper custom. It was either like one cafe or something. So I'd spend most of my days just at the magazine store, just trying to piece together stuff that made sense. And it's amazing what it's come to now. I mean, it's completely different. And now it's interesting. It took me decades to get to where I was, but today there's so much reference. Difficulties. Some people's first motorcycle is as good as my 100th motorcycle. So
the one thing is, I think is a little different there because you paid your dues, as did all of you, and you could be a one-hit wonder. I agree. You could come out of the shoes with something great. There is something to be said for that experience and for, like I keep saying, dealing with the ups and downs and being able to survive. I don't know if a lot of these one-hit wonders would be able to survive. You need the passion, and like you say, what keeps you up at night. And you said a certain amount of neuroses. I, for one, always say neuroses is what makes the world go round, because it would be pretty boring without it. But it takes moxie to keep going, and you guys all have it. And I applaud you for walking your own walk at a time when there weren't any other people on that path. So very few.
Yes, sir.
Who's next up?
Next up was Mr. Tom Kiefer.
Yep, I'm right here.
So Tom, so your story is a little different because being a motor cop and you're retiring, but you did both things, and it amazes me that you had the energy to work a 40-hour week in the shop after working a full-time job as a cop. So I mean, that's just amazing. So why don't you tell us about that, what it takes to survive?
Well, a 40-hour week was a little bit light because I usually work 10 days straight, and in the middle of those 10 days, I worked 3 to 11, 7 to 3, and then was in the shop every hour between it, slept about 5 hours a night, and went right back to work, and I did that for 15 straight years. It was quite interesting. I was a little younger when I started, but I was able to work till like 2, 3 in the morning and get about 3, 4 hours of sleep and go right back in the morning before I went back to work again. But what my passion was always motorcycles. It was always motorcycles. It was always being with, I guess, an industry that I really didn't even know that was an industry. I just knew that I loved motorcycles, and I had a lot of people around me that did. As I got a little bit older and more into the business and didn't really realize I was getting into the business, I switched over to service and repair because honestly, in the early days, everybody wanted to build a motorcycle and think that they were going to be a chopper builder or whatever. That's not making you money. But I started out life as very young, working on motorcycles and working in my dad's automotive shop. So I'm ASE certified automotive mechanic, state inspection, all that good stuff before I became a trooper in Pennsylvania. And it just never stopped. It just never stopped. But as I got a little bit more into the business, I realized that there's friendships and there's things that you can do that actually makes it so much better. The more people I met and the more people I was able to be with and the more people I was able to actually help just made me feel better and better and better. And I guess that's part of my public service, being Marine Corps and then went right to the state police, but I still do it every day. I just, if I can help somebody out in the middle of the street, somebody calls me a mile, whatever, and I can go out and take care of them, I'll do it. I don't even want to charge them. I just want to get them back on the road, especially if they're on some sort of a big trip that they just don't, that they can't get the local repair. I'll do everything I can, but I don't sell a product other than myself. And what I sell is my personality and my drive to work. That's what I don't sell any products. Like Brian, such an awesome guy. I've known him for years, emulated him all the way through. John Shope, the stuff that he sells, fantastic products. They mentioned Bagger Nation, Paul. He's a good friend of mine too, but I just don't have products for sale. But what I do sell is my personality and my drive to work and my drive to actually help and do just general service and repair.
Okay, wait a minute. I have a bone to pick. Let's go back to this picture here, because in the beginning I was talking about, I just felt like you didn't get the attention that you. Just realized this is your second knucklehead. You can kiss my ass. How about that? How about you take your two knuckleheads?
I just got to say, that knucklehead's been photographed quite often. That by far is the absolute best picture that bike's ever had.
Oh yeah,
and we all know who
because
took that
MFL
picture.
shot it. Come on now.
That's
but
right.
that bike is pretty damn nice. I got to say, it's pretty nice. I've had that for about 12 years now, and I put my heart and soul. I probably put a week in just the mid controls on that bike before I even knew what anybody was building mid controls. I just, out of my head, I was just trying to figure it out. And if you look at it, it's rudimentary, but it's functional and it looks very nice.
So listen, if you guys just heard Heather, I'm going to butt in for a second so that everybody knows. Heather just said that's because MFL shot it. Michael is such a passive, beautiful soul, and he's all about peace and everything. And we always hype him up because he's an absolute gangster, right? So we've re-nicknamed him Michael fucking Lichter, and we all call him MFL now because he won't call himself that. So we're down with the MFL.
Oh no, yes, he did. Remember I was doing the MFL technique.
Well,
I love it.
I have to admit, I never heard
love
this until the chase, and as it turns out, my wonderful assistant Melissa Shoemaker, who is now a veritable photographer for Cycle Source, she apparently behind my back nicknamed me that with my other wonderful assistant Shannon Kerr, and the two of them, that's apparently how they always referred to me behind my back.
Well,
that's a good one. That's a good one,
Michael, but a lot of times it is
Absolutely.
well deserved because you
Nobody
it's not
works as hard
always
as this
negative.
cat.
Occasionally, when they're working with you, yes, but for the most part, you are MFL. It's such an honor to have be photographed by you. Like that's how everybody feels.
Well,
Yeah, so Sturgis
you know what? I now
down with
consider the MFL
shirts.
moniker an endearment.
It is. It really is.
If it can be
I need
done
an
that way,
MFL
but-
shirt.
See?
Who's down with the MFL shirts?
See?
Who's got
Down
it?
with the
Who's doing them for you?
I told him we need to get
Just
him.
Michael, we all want the down with the MFL shirt.
XL here.
I'm done with the
Hot Leathers is
MFL.
talking about doing some shirts for me. Maybe that'll have to be one of them. We'll have to talk to Andy over there.
Yeah.
But my assistant, I love them. We've gotten along so great. So when they say stuff like that, I put it this way: we're close enough that at 2 a.m. when they're done, literally Melissa Shoemaker came over with some water and a little tablet and said, "Okay, time to go to bed."
Look, everybody in the comments is lining
Yeah,
up for
everybody's
these shirts.
commenting. It's down with the MFL. We're gonna have a hashtag down with the MFL.
That's great.
Yeah, you got
like
it.
You
that.
have your bike
Do it, do
photographed
it.
by MFL. You should get a shirt. I was shot by MFL.
Damn straight.
There you go.
Damn
There
straight.
you go. That's a good one.
MFL.
That's
Well,
great.
Michael, last but
Shot
certainly
by
not
NFL.
least, from the left coast, Mr. Taber Nash.
All right, Taber. You know, Taber especially, I know that with your bike last year that you had, and you could talk a little bit about this, that the story behind that was, there was a lot of hardship behind that story, and in terms of what was going on in your life. And so maybe, I mean, everybody has this, you know, we've all had hardships, but maybe you could talk about that a little bit. And again, what does it take to stay in business? What does it take to still follow your passion?
Yeah, you know, that bike last year. Well, first off, there's not a whole lot I can say with what Brian already said. You know, with what he's gone through, and even John. You know, me and John have been friends for a lot of years. A lot of people probably don't even know this, but you know, I was up in Vancouver, Washington, and John was in Oregon when we started, and I walked into his first garage shop. You know, and I had a buddy that was buying some bike that he was selling. And me and him have just stayed friends ever since. And you know, I'm proud of John for what he's done and been able to see what he's overcome and gotten to the point to where he is now. And for us to be able to keep the friendship all those years, just like Brian said, you know, it's the motorcycle industry is definitely a small knit community, and staying solid with everybody's definitely the way to go, and keep everybody you know, close and happy. And you know, if you endure this long, I think there's enough stories going around, or enough history that we can all learn from one another. Amen. From all of our trials. But yeah, that bike last year, Michael, the story behind that, you know, I called it the 1157 when me and my wife bought our first house in Vancouver, Washington. When we were up there, I'm down in LA now, but I ripped down one of the walls, and on the chimney, engraved in the chimney, it said 1157. And it was that old brick color, and that's what I went up painting you know, calling the bike and putting on the bike. But we wound up actually losing that house in 2008 with the downturn and just everything, you know, getting sideways. So it was, you know, it was tough to lose our first house and go through all that, but we were able to endure. And you know, I guess the biggest thing that's helped us survive through all of this is, for one, my wife and her support, and then a lot of waffles. Eating a lot of waffles.
That's awesome.
Coming this way? Why are you showing me?
Because you're out getting a beer in the dark.
Are you guys getting some interference?
There's a whole nother conversation going on.
The interference is Tom and his dog and his fresh beer.
Oh my God! Where is that
I need a fresh beer.
Huh?
Where's Murphy?
Oh boy!
Show him.
Murphy's celebrating 50 years with Tom, apparently.
Wait a minute. Let me switch back. You guys are keeping me on my toes tonight.
All right, let's let Taber finish his story.
Wait a minute. Here's Murphy. Licking the camera. That's great. Okay, back to Taber.
Back to waffles.
Sorry.
Okay.
I was done talking. This is way better.
No. I mean, that 1157, I mean, it's the story of you rebuilding your house as well.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah. I mean, it was actually the loss of the house. You know, I mean, I built that bike when we were remodeling the house. Then we wound up actually losing the home. So you know, there's kind of a tragic story behind it. But at the end of the day, you know, it all worked out. It was for the better. We lost that home, but moved on and had a better place. And we are where we are today because of a lot of changes. And I've never really, you know, throughout my life, I've always been directed where I needed to go as I needed to. I've up until the house I live in now, I actually never lived in a home for any longer than 3 years. And this one we've lived in for almost 5 years, and that's my entire life. Even when I was a kid, I was never in a home any longer than 3 years. So I never have felt like I really had a home. I always feel like I'm kind of just wandering and, you know, going from town to town, even though I have a family and a business and everything. So.
But have stayed alive the whole time too.
Yeah.
The whole time.
Yeah.
There you go.
Our business has never fallen apart.
It's amazing. It takes a lot to keep going, and the percentage of businesses that fail in the first year, second year, and certainly in the first 5 and 10 years.
Oh, it's huge.
I think it's a very small percentage of businesses that succeed after 10.
Yeah.
Let alone to be in business after 20. Wouldn't you guys agree?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I think what's great about what Taber said is the vulnerability to say, you know, in 2008, things went south and I lost my house, right? I mean, you have to be as willing to stand on the podium as you are to accept the mistakes or the crap that happens to you or the curveball that happens, and be able to share that. So many times in our lives, we try to bury the bad instead of just being honest about it and learning from it and owning it. You know, put a blame on somebody else because I lost my house because of this guy. No. Something happened. What was my part in it? Once I own it, then, like you said, Taber, you can move on. You move to a different city. You start over. But it was a learning experience, and it's made you a better, father, a better leader, a better human, better business person, whatever the case is. But own it, right?
Yeah. And it's not how hard you fall; it's how well you get back up. Yeah. So
correct.
Yeah. I like how you said it. Own it, because that's so true with all of these stories. So true.
Right on.
Yeah.
Well, and to all you guys and to Michael, I want to tell you from the outside, from a media perspective, what this show really meant in our life and times, coming through everything that was going on with COVID, and it's another change of generations in the custom motorcycle scene, and all of that coming together to make this 2 years worth of show that Michael titled Heavy Metal is beyond appropriate. I mean, it was the perfect way to tell the story of now, especially.
Yeah.
And that's through each one of your stories.
Absolutely.
Incredible.
Absolutely.
So appropriate.
So honored.
Well, I want to thank all of you for being part of it, and also special thanks. Taber, through his Paths app, is a sponsor of the show, and they're building all new stands for the information cards for each bike. So they're gonna have metal stands that he's having Teach build, and I'm real excited and very thankful. And Brian, through Clockworks, is also a sponsor. I want to thank you guys. I want to thank you all for being part of this and making it happen. It's like we have 25 sponsors for the show, and I do that. We keep the price down just so that we can have a lot of ownership in the industry, and that's worked. That's why we have so many. And one thing we didn't mention, some of the people that aren't here, there's quite a few, but people like Arlen Fatlin, Bill Dodge, Billy Lane, Carl Olson, Cole Foster, Corey Ness, Dan Bacon Carr, Dave Perowitz, Donnie Smith, Fred Cuba. I mean, that's not even half the list. We have great bikes. It's going to be a great show. And I want to invite all the listeners that at noon on Sunday, we're asking the builders to come to the gallery. And so we're going to actually we've always had soft openings on Saturday. This time on Sunday at noon, we're going to have a hard opening. The gallery will open. I'll be there. I could talk with people about the photos or about the show and the theme. The builders, many of them will be there, available to take photos with and answer questions about their bikes. So I hope a lot of people show up at noon on Sunday at the Buffalo Chips East Gate.
Absolutely.
Hey, and Michael, I think, explain to people how to get there, what building they got to go to. And it's a little shorter this year, right? Like not as many days.
That's true, because we're opening on Sunday. We lost our transportation sponsor, and that was another outcome of COVID, that basically anyone in fulfillment and transportation is so busy they can't afford to ship for free. And understandably, they're making hay right now. So all these guys are getting their bikes to the show, which is phenomenal.
Hopefully not Colleen.
To help accommodate the builders, we're shortening the show so that it's over Wednesday night. There will be and so Thursday they're picking up their bikes instead of it going through Friday. It's ending Wednesday night, so you have from Sunday through Wednesday. I hope we get the same number of people in that shorter time. It's free to come in to anyone. You do not have to pay to go in the Buffalo Chip. Go to the East Gate. Tell them you're going to the event center to see the exhibition. It's right there on the perimeter. And just please come and try to come for the opening Sunday at noon.
So guys, if you would do me a favor.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I think that's the key, is to let people know that you don't have to buy a concert ticket. You don't have to go into the Buffalo Chip. You literally go around the east side and you're going to see the best bikes in the industry. And I mean, I walk in there and I'm fanboying. I don't care. Like, it doesn't even matter that my bike's in there. It's like these guys right here that are on the screen are building killer stuff. And the names, like Michael said, you need to just check out the list. It's unbelievable.
I should tell people there's going to be a lot of every bike is unique.
Brothers.
But there are some special things like seeing a diesel custom. That's That's going to be very interesting, John Shope. But we also have Kano and Paul Cox together have built a bike for the first time in 15 years or more. And that bike is on a brand new Indian that Indian gave to them. So this is an Indian-sponsored project. And that project will be unveiled and shown for the first time in the exhibition, as will, and this is killer too, BMW gave Shinya Kimura a brand new BMW. And he's building a Shinya Kimura ground-up custom from this new platform BMW, which will also be unveiled in the show. So, I mean, this is big stuff. This is something to come and see.
So, guys, if you would all do me a favor, please, let's go in the order that you guys came on tonight. So, starting with Brian, tell everybody. I know, Brian, you have the skinny tire bagger build off going on in Sturgis, and tell everybody where they can keep up with you and anything else you got going on for Sturgis.
You can find out all of our information at Clockworks Instagram. It's just KLOCKWERKS, and really check it out on Tuesdays. My daughter Carly is doing Talk About It Tuesdays, and she'll usually run down everything that's going on in the shop, whether we're building something or whether it's an event coming up. Hashtag STBBO is Skinny Tire Bagger Build Off. That's happening out at the Chip as part of the performance show. We will have both of our locations at J&P and at Black Hills Harley. And don't forget, we're having our pre-Sturgis party. If you're coming through anywhere from the East Coast, August 5th, it's Thursday night from 5 to 10. We pack as much stuff as we can into a town of 15,000 people in 5 hours in front of the world's only corn palace. And the big feature this year is the Evel Knievel stunt cycle, you know, the little wind-up generator toy.
I got two.
We're going to set a world record for the Evel Knievel stunt cycle this year. Guy coming out from Bayou Kiefer out in Pennsylvania. He's known as the 7-inch daredevil, and his stunt cycle will go 51 miles an hour, and he's going to jump it over 22 feet at our show. So come on by on Thursday, see Bear stunt. It's going to be fun.
Nice.
Wow.
All right, Mr. Shope,
That's
what do you got
awesome.
for us for Sturgis?
So on my Facebook or Instagram, I'll post on there where we're going for the day, but I'm kind of just floating around. Wednesday, I joined with the Perowitz Paint Show over at, what do they call the Easy Rider place now? The Broken Spoke?
Iron Horse and Broken Spoke.
Iron Horse. So Wednesday, the Dirty Tail, Battle of the Dirty Tail is going to go on there. So we'll be there all day with Perowitz Paint Show. Other than that, I'm just floating around. I'm trying to get people to buy me drinks.
Tell our listeners what your Instagram is and Facebook. How do they find you?
It's dirtybirdconcepts.com is my website. Facebook is John Shope's Dirty Bird Concepts. Instagram, same thing, Dirty Bird Concepts. A lot of people are already on that thing. But yeah, I'll just post stuff on there every day, what we're doing, and kind of go from there.
So, Michael, you said this is your first Sturgis, right?
Yeah, so I'm not throwing a party like Brian, but be there.
You don't want to.
He's a little lackluster, but I'll be there.
He's got his plate full.
No, we're gonna.
You may
ask,
want to go past Sturgis and go right to Brian's party to start, and then ride to Sturgis with him.
well, we're gonna ask all of our
bring
listeners to help us out with this. So this is Brian's first Sturgis. I want to enlist the help of all of our. There's probably 60,000 people watching this or more right now.
Bikes.
I want you guys to help bust this cat's Sturgis cherry. So if you see him, get him drunk, race him, try to get him arrested. We want to cram it all into 1 year, baby.
It might be a girl dressed up as a guy, buddy. Be careful.
I'm so excited for you to meet all the other people in the show, and I do hope you can come to the ride on Wednesday with one of your own bikes so I can get riding shots of you, which I don't have.
Yeah, I'll definitely. Thank you, Michael.
That's awesome.
Michael, where can people keep up with you?
Racia Motorcycle, probably Instagram's the easiest, or Facebook. Racia Motorcycles, RACCIA Motorcycles, Instagram. It's the best way.
Mr. Kiefer.
Yeah. So we're going to get there early on Thursday night to deliver the bike to Michael so he can shoot it. And then Friday, we're going to have an all day that we've never had there. But Saturday night, we have the Hamster Hill party. But one of the big things I'm doing this week is Monday, I'm doing the Old School Chopper Show. Steve Broyles at the Full Throttle Saloon. There you go. I get to pick a bike, and Steve asked me to do it a couple years ago, and I'm so honored to do that because Steve's such a great guy. And then we're going to do I'll be doing a lot of stuff with Cycle Source throughout the week. It's all good, but most of the stuff is riding and just having some fun. But there's a lot of big, cool things. Vernacular Canyon, riding with us.
Buddy.
Cycle Source should be pretty damn cool. running with you guys.
Yes, sir. So tell everybody where they can keep up with you.
They can keep up with me with Franklin Church Choppers on Instagram, Franklin Church Choppers on Facebook, and my website sucks, so don't even try. I'm tired of paying people.
Oh my God. So Taber, hit us up. What are you doing? What's going on for Taber and Sturgis?
I'm just riding up to Sturgis, dropping my bike off with Michael, and hanging out for a couple of days. Nothing too crazy, but I'll be around the Buffalo Chip hanging out. I'll probably try to get over to Brian's party, and that's about it.
Right on.
Oh yeah, I think he's making light of the situation. He's trying to keep other businesses running and his family and all that. You got a lot on your plate. And I had someone, Brian Pelletier, actually chimed in and said he's asking, will the QR codes be available online? Can you address that question? This is regarding paths, and for people that don't go to Sturgis, will they be able to follow the exhibition in some way?
We can, yeah. They'll be able to get on paths for one, and follow the exhibition that way. And then if we want to do QR codes online, we can do that as well.
You don't like it? Put it back. I like it.
Oh, Tom.
Doggy interference. I'm sorry. So, but if they go to paths, they can go online to the website. How do they find the exhibition?
Well, they'd have to download the app to go and find the exhibition on paths. But if we wanted to do something QR code based, we could talk about that too, Michael, and do something online through that part of it. But for now, they need to download the app and go on there, and they'll be able to see what's going on through that.
Maybe on the website you could put something on the homepage or something, a shortcut.
Sure. Yeah, we can talk about that too and work out those details.
We can probably even help you out from here.
Thanks, Craig.
All exciting.
All right, fellas. Well, listen, I thank each and every one of you for coming in with us tonight and spending the time. I know everybody, this is Sunday night, and you guys were winding down. You're nice enough to sign on to this, so thank you very much.
Thanks for having
Chris.
us.
Thanks, guys. I look forward to seeing you at noon on Sunday.
Yep.
Okay.
Chris, quick plug for the Sturgis Motorcycle Museum. I'm joining forces with Emma Garvin to co-host their breakfast. If you've never been to that before, if you're a young builder or you've been in the industry forever, come meet some of your heroes and really get the backstory on everybody who's getting inducted, and just chat with people. It's if you can get up Wednesday morning, it's definitely worth your effort.
Hey, and listen, while we're on that subject, this pertains to the Motorcycle Hall of Fame Museum. Charlie Brechtel, before he passed away, the plan was to have this golden chopper be the grand prize of the second movie, and Charlie passed away before he could complete that movie. Everyone involved, Paco and Mondo and everybody, decided that the best thing to do with this bike was to raffle it off in Charlie's honor, and all 100% of the proceeds, as soon as you hit the buy button, $20 for one ticket, $100 for six, all that money goes straight to the Motorcycle Museum and Hall of Fame in Charlie's honor, and you get an opportunity to get this killer panhead. So just wanted to squeeze that in there too.
That's awesome. So much good stuff.
That's
so
perfect.
Much good stuff.
Great stuff.
All right, guys. Well, thanks again. We'll see you in the Black Hills.
All right. Can't wait. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, you all. Thank you.
Hey, Michael, will you do me a favor and stick with us here for a couple minutes? We're gonna run our new product for the week and then take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back with you. And we're gonna finish up your pictures, some of which have never been seen before, right?
That's right.
Okay, I want to remind you guys you're watching Shop Talk through the courtesy of the Dennis Kirk Motorcycle Studio. We're gonna take a quick break, watch some product, and then go to commercial, and we'll be back with Mr. Michael Lichter. Don't go anywhere. Stick around. Hey, this is Chris with Cycle Source Magazine, Grease and Gears Garage, with a new product spotlight. Today's new product spotlight is on the S&S Chrome 2-in-1 Super Street 50-state exhaust system. These are for Softail models from 2018 and up. You can see on the header pipe back here, stainless steel construction. The larger O2 ports, so you can go with the larger O2s or the stock O2 sensors. All of the components of the exhaust system are heat shielded for blueproof design. Even at the crossover, you can see they have this piece here. The high flow catalyst from S&S, nice piece. There's the trademark logo, the cool tips. This comes complete with all the mounting hardware, everything you need for that. Mounting brackets. They do tell you that motorcycles with mid controls will need a brake pedal kit, so you'll want to look into that. You can check these out in more detail today at DennisKirk.com. They come in at a retail of $1338.24. You can tell them the guys at Grease and Gears Garage sent you. Until next time, this is Chris with New Product Spotlight.
The Fueling name has been associated with racing and high-performance engines since 1974, when founder Jim Fueling started fueling the flames. From Daytona to Monaco, from the Bonneville Salt Flats to the Indy 500. Fueling is here to compete. Look for the Flying Pig to run up front this year with pilot Ben Bosman. Fueling. No bullshit, just performance.
Hey everybody, this is Chris with Cycle Source, and obviously in the Grease and Gears Garage, I got a real quick update for you. So, it's Sturgis time again. Sturgis. Get it into your heads, put it on your calendar, get ready, gas up the bikes. We're leaving for the Black Hills, and one of the highlights of the Black Hills Rally is going to be when we roll this bike out onto the stage at the Buffalo Chip. This is this year's Twisted T. And I'm going to let you in on the name, the T-Dragger. But I'm not going to let you see anything else of what this bike looks like. We'll have this finished by Sturgis, and its debut will be on the stage of the Buffalo Chip. You can win this motorcycle. This is something Twisted T does every year just to give back to their faithful followers that come out to the rallies and support them. They give this motorcycle away free of charge. You don't have to buy a Twisted T. You don't have to buy a Cycle Source magazine. You just go to twistedT.com, sign up to win the T-Dragger, and this bike could be parked in your garage. We'll see you in the Black Hills.
This is Rick from RKB, and you're watching ShopTalk.
Everything we do at the track shapes what we build for the street and the dirt.
You can see how bad these guys want it. A race to the line.
For us, racing is not for the trophies or the glory. We compete because it makes everything we do faster, more durable, and tested to a higher standard. For S&S, racing is the ultimate in proven performance, and we've been proving it since 1958.
Okay, and welcome back to the Dennis Kirk Motorcycle Studio. Dennis Kirk, they ship today. If you're last minute like me, waiting on parts can be excruciating, and Dennis Kirk got you hooked up with that. They can get you stuff overnight. I do it all the time, much to the chagrin of my lovely wife, but it happens. Check them out today, DennisKirk.com. Mr. Lichter, still with us over there, buddy?
Still here, absolutely.
Alrighty, so we got.
I'd love to respond to a couple of comments if
Go
I
ahead,
could.
please.
Gloria McDonald Griffiths, she wrote, "Thanks for all the pics. They're great. How are you? First, you shot us in the Rendezvous in 1995, and this happens a lot. People ask for pictures. And she said, how do I get a hold of you? And I don't like printing it where all the bots get the address, but I could say it because they don't do that. So I'm going to say you can contact me at mike@lichterphoto.com. That's my website address, lichterphoto.com, mike@lichterphoto.com. So if you have questions, feel free to write me there. You could get me through my social media, although email is actually best if possible. So there's that. Hey to Mike Podger from Prince Edward Island. I love that he's always tuning in because I have to go visit him. I've never been to PEI. Then Wink Eller wrote, I was wondering the other day if we could ever get a permit for a few of us old geezers and friends spending a night in the park before we kick the bucket. And I presume he means City Park. And that would be a cool idea. But first thing, we got to get you to Sturgis. So we'll talk about that. Steve Broyle suggested he nominates Dan Toch, but I believe I spoke to Dan, and he really hasn't been building custom bikes for over 20 years. So that's why he wasn't in. And Chris Simmons said, what about new blood? Let's get more women. And well, I'll tell you, there are not a lot of women that have built 20 customs and have been in business for more than 20 years.
Yeah, that was the
and
hardest thing
really
about this one was that time frame, man. That's a long time.
It's a long time. In a few years we will. We're getting more and more women coming in, so hopefully we'll get there.
Michael, I think some of those comments from Steve about Dan and from Chris were actually in the beginning when you were announcing next year's show.
Next year, that's right.
Who had never been in the show before.
Well, there you go.
Those were from early on, so those I think are probably two really good suggestions for you.
Somebody's on the ball. Thank you, Heather.
So
you're welcome.
Let's go back.
Yeah, we have a few photos left.
Yeah, we definitely need to hit all of these. I don't want to waste a single one.
Well, there's only a few more. I think there's only about 5 or 6. But I call this Happy Holiday. A lot of times I get the titles out of the pictures. It's the Happy Holiday Campground. I don't know the couple. This is from 1986. So again, that's exactly 35 years ago. Sturgis, But I don't know.
And look again,
something
man.
about it that I like.
How long ago, Sturgis?
1986, 35 years ago.
And assless chaps ruled the world. Check them out.
That's right.
Assless chaps and perforated fingerless gloves.
That's right.
Yeah, I like when you're zooming in, I like seeing the clues like, the sign on the campground, the signs on the wall, the gas pumps, the old car in the background. I also like this contrast between the darkness in the foreground and the very lit sort of South Dakota brilliance in the background.
Is that a Datsun back there? Oh my God!
Yeah.
So it looks like you're cold.
Anyway, I look at that kind of stuff, and in this case, I think the foam poles add to it,
Yep.
And I will. It's just a statement here. I will never remove a phone pole from a photo. If I don't like it, I don't use it, but I will not remove anything.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that's just. Oh no, this is cool. This is 87. And there we were at Cycle Fab. Jody was, I believe, 5 years old.
Wow.
And I stayed at the Perowitz house. That's the original Cycle Fab shop right next to Lynn's Lunch and Takeout. I love reading the signs on the old stuff. Notice, no area code, guys.
Now open, look in the window. Now open, Gospel Train Soul Food Country Kitchen.
Isn't that great?
Taking every possible direction she could right there.
Yeah. And I like the old car, which helps date photos in the left. And this is, we're just getting ready to leave for Laconia for the rally in 1987.
That's awesome.
Cool. Actually, I posted that one, and a guy in there said, hey, remember me? I'm Dino in the picture. And I have to call him because he did send me his number, and I want to call him and find out about other people in the picture. He did say a couple of people are not around anymore, which is the truth about photography. It records a moment in time that was only then. And I'll tell you, there's a lot of people in my old photos. They just aren't with us anymore.
Now, this is arguably one of your most iconic shots.
It's probably my most known photo. I put a couple pictures in, I think 3 photos that I've exhibited before. This is one of them. And I put it in just because I'm not going to do all new stuff. And I I think it holds up and it's still relevant, and so it's back in the show. Of course, that's Ed Reekin in the photo that I got to know 20 years after the picture was taken in 1979. That Ed and I became friends many years later, and actually, it was really cool because it brought Ed some much deserved attention. That he's the guy in this photo wrapped in a moving blanket. I remember being at an event, I think it was in West Virginia, and he was there, and I had the photo on display, and I was on stage being interviewed, and I said, I got to bring somebody up here on stage, and I brought him up, and he got a big round of applause, and he often gets people asking for his autograph.
Yep.
This is a scene in City Park, 1981. I call it Crash, City Park, 1981. And I just love the sequence of photos where the film frame is part of the picture. I included half a frame of the lead photo and half a frame of the photo at the end, and just kind of what City Park was like. It's almost like an animation, almost like a film, and it's what we do, like a film strip, I guess.
Well, this is what I'm thinking about while we're sitting here looking at this. On Torque Performance every week, they have a thing called From the Gram. And it's a video that they get off of Instagram, but it's shit like this, like somebody pulling out hot and dumping a bike, and this is proof that you actually did it first. Who wore it better?
Wow, cool.
Nice. I mean,
this shot is incredible, dude.
Oh, that's Nimi. This is cool. This is I call it time travel, and I do that because it just has this sense of, man, like you're in a time machine, and there's that light at the end of the tunnel, and here he's coming through it. And that is the natural color of sodium vapor lights. That's how they look on. This is in 2014. That's how they're interpreted by film or digital even. And I don't try to correct it. That is the color that we see now. Our eyes get adjusted. They kind of interpret it as white. But and he's on. So that's in 2014, and he's riding Shinya's 2014 Indian. 1915 Indian, which was 99 years at that point. And here they are crossing America, and Nimi didn't speak a word of English.
Wow.
Getting on this old bike. He has the little tools and a very cool toolbox on the back, and he's done some major repairs on the side of the road. Coast to coast. That was Daytona to Seattle, Tacoma. I call this one Boots. It's a recent photo, and I don't know. It just, for me, captures hanging out, being in the dirt, riding. I mean, I'd never ridden in the dirt before, so Nepal was really a first for me. This is Boots on the road to Pokhara, Nepal, in 2019. This is on Bear Houghton's. It's motorcycle Sherpa trips, and this Stairway to Heaven is basically the trip. We go up to, I don't know, like 18,000 feet, and we're in the dirt. And a lot of us on the trip, there were a number of people that were sort of in the industry as well. That some were really good dirt riders. Pat Patterson was there. He's an expert. I, for one, was new to it and didn't know what I was doing. But we all attacked it and had such a good time. But can't you just see hanging out, like just really cool, hiding in the dirt, getting somewhere in a foreign country and hanging out and relaxing.
Well, and all your photography is amazing, but the ones that always speak to me the most are like this and the one of the greasy hands, like we started a segment that you did for quite a while on the Motorcycle Cannonballs every week that was a picture's worth 1,000 words. And those pictures like that, the boots and the greasy hands, and they literally tell a whole other story, and they could possibly tell a different story for everybody that looks at them.
Yeah. I've had people look at that photo that you're referring to, which is called Working Hands, and that was taken in Cuba in 2009. And I had a woman in West Virginia where I had an exhibition, and she comes up to me and she said, "Oh my God, I just love that photo." It made her think of her brother and her father that were miners, and those hands, like you say, it means different things to different people. It could be a mechanic, it could be a coal miner. It's people that work with their hands and salt of the earth, right?
Yep. I actually have that here. I want to bring it up real quick because it's literally one of my favorite pictures of yours ever.
Man, you're fast on the draw, Chris Callan.
I tries to be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that
I
was,
love that.
Where was that picture taken to? And I'm obviously stealing this from bikernet.com for a minute.
Yeah, no, it's taken in Havana, Cuba, and it's a mechanic at the bottom end of his pan head. And I was just using that to demonstrate how, I mean, to me, the photos I took in Cuba are the history of Cuba, as are, I think, my photos of bikers in America are the history of America. And so in this case, the way they take a part, and that part has probably been in and out of that bike a dozen times in its history. But they don't have the opportunity to go to a shop and buy a new part. They take that part and they wire brush it and they clean it and they do whatever they can and they stick it back in and go, well, this is all we got. We got to make it work.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, I'm sorry. I just hijacked your presentation for a minute.
No, and actually, it was just a few photos I pulled prior to the show, and there were really no rhyme or reason. But this one, wow. I call this Ryan and the Raven. And I don't know, the light on his face, it's midday, and this Mesa Trading Company is torn down now. It's no longer around in Arizona. And just the grit and determination in his face. And, Raven represents, the symbolism is death. And in that bike, there's a lot of history. Like, he took...
Oh, my God,
ashes.
I just realized who this is. This is Ryan that was the sweep rider.
Yes.
Wow.
He's from Santa Fe. And he took the ashes.
That's so awesome.
Of, I believe it was his dad, and he mixed it into one shot and painted the names on the tank of other friends and family members that had passed. It's underneath. Wow. But he actually used the ashes in the paint and painted that on there. So there's sort of this intensity. I didn't know any of that until after, when he saw the picture and started telling me some stories behind it. But that Raven, I don't know, just that's the shot right there.
That's great.
I call this Flying Ribbon. And that's taken at the at Trog. And it's Josh Cohn on his 1937, taken in Wildwood in 1915. And I have a few shots of Josh I really like. He's a great character. He's a great writer. But what I like about this is the monochromness of it, that you almost think it's black and white. You almost think I colorized the black and white rather than printed a color picture.
Yeah.
But it is a color picture, and we actually tried to tone the blue down. I mean, it is the way it is. It looks like it's popping off the tank, but we couldn't tone it down anymore. That's the color. We couldn't even back it off anymore. It's a slab of blue color in this field of black and white.
Right on, man. Right on. So the show is coming up quick. Sturgis is, like I said at the beginning of the show, Runaway Train. You can get more information about the show at buffalochip.com. Events, motorcycles as art, more metal. We're going to put a link up right now. As far as you, Michael, your website is kicking ass right now, so we want to talk about that. Redesigned, repurposed, perfect, nearly.
It's got a long way to go, but it's coming and it's happening. There's some sections that we need to finish the engineering on, and I've only got it back to 2014, but we are going to be adding years going back. I'm looking forward to that. It's an incredibly time-consuming process. For me to re-edit, for example, Sturgis, is a full week of editing. That's how long it takes me to edit it for the website, and that's a Sturgis from 2013.
And I'm gonna show everybody for a minute if I can butt in. One of the greatest things, like, you don't realize, when you think about Michael and his iconic photography, you don't realize that on his site is there this little search thing, and if I just put in Callan and I'm gonna hit search, it's gonna bring up all kind of different.
What's the total?
times.
Look at the top. How many?
540 images.
540 shots.
Anything that's on this site is available for prints. You can buy a print, and Heather and I are lucky enough that we have some Michael Lichter prints in our house that bring back memories and times with Michael, and you can too. So go check them out at Lichter Photo. And
thank you.
I'm going to throw a link up for that real quick too.
And then I have Instagram and Facebook, which on that I will be posting more and more info as we get closer to the exhibition about info. But I do hope that many of you that come can come at noon on Sunday for the opening to meet builders and myself and hear stories behind the bikes and behind the photos. And for those of you that can't come, I hope that you sign up for paths and look at the show and take your time enjoying the bikes and the photos.
Right on, man. Well, listen, I'm sorry.
You know
go
what?
ahead.
Before we end, maybe we could just mention about Easy Riders.
Yes, I have. I brought the page up actually. Let me see where I had that. There it is. So go ahead, tell everybody the good news.
Well, first, I want to preface what I consider good news, the fact that what's being called Classic Easy Riders is going to be back, and it's going to continue with issue 355, which is where it left off 2 years ago. And somebody's taking it over. I got the license for it and brought Dave Nichols, myself, and Regina Marsh back on. Dave is the editor, me is a prime photographer, and Regina is the designer with Carmelo. And it's going to be modernized. It's going to not be as limited in branding. I know that we have my trip to Nepal will be in it, and ice racing in Siberia will be in it. This is all scheduled for the next year. And we have some exciting stuff. So that's how varied and diverse it will be. And we'll cover Sturgis. We'll cover certainly bike features and builders and profiles on people. So I'm excited about all that. But I have to say, one of the things I'm really excited about is that we are going to be able to go to the newsstand. And I'm hoping that motorcycling, and custom motorcycling in particular, can be considered a category again.
Yes.
I mean, it's wonderful. And kudos to Cycle Source Media, Chris Callan and Heather, that you guys have survived. I mean, you just keep going, you keep ticking, and you're out there and really the last man standing. And you've done an awesome job at diversifying and creating Cycle Source Media and these shows that you produce. And the films now and covering the chase and things like that. So you're become so diverse as you've had to become. But back to print magazines, we're so happy that there's another one on the newsstand. I'm honored that I can be part of it again, and I still will contribute to Cycle Source. But it's great that we could all work together and get along. I'm going to be part of your ride in Sturgis, and we're going to have your bike and Easy Riders, which is so cool. That Chris
how about it? How about it? Something wicked. I didn't tell Mark yet. You can tell Mark.
That's cool.
Hey, Mark, that's the news. So
yeah, that's pretty badass.
It's going to be an Easy Rider. So I look forward that we work together, and we work together also on building up, bringing back custom motorcycling on the newsstand. And making it better than it's ever been.
Well, man, and so people understand too. Like, we happen to be the last man standing, but we sure as hell don't want to be. And
Amen. That's a
Cycle
scary
Source,
place to be.
Well, and this is the thing, man. We didn't start off as publishers. You know, all these people were my heroes. They became my friends. They became my contemporaries, and I got to know their families and their stories. And I was invested. Like, you know, when I talked to Dave the other day about, you know, being back at the helm of Easy Riders, it's great. I'm so happy for him. And we don't want to be the last, because Cycle Source is what it is. It's all it's ever going to be, because it's all I can manage for it to be, because it's just the bullshit that we do and the things that we see and that we like. And, you know, that's why when I saw another bunch of young guys, you know, excited about what they do with motorcycling, we're starting Torque too. Torque is going to have their first issue out by Sturgis, you know, so that means at least 3 magazines on the national newsstands all the time now, you know. That's awesome.
I'm so happy to hear that Torque's going to be in print for Sturgis. That's great news. So it's good for everybody, and I think it's good for our viewers today, and good for the entire motorcycle world, and it's great. So I'm happy to be part of this, and looking forward to it.
Yes, sir. All right, Michael. Well, listen, thanks for coming on with us. I'm sorry we kept you so late tonight, but it was definitely worth the time of the show.
No, very cool. And there's a lot of comments, and I can't answer during the show. I don't even know how to answer after, but I will look at them all. And I do have copies of everything, so I'm going to be checking them all out. But I do invite people, if they do need a direct response, to write me at mike@lichterphoto.com. Wink Eller, I could answer you right now. You asked if it was me that went off the road shooting. Where was that? You said that. Did I run off the road shooting for the SNS 124 Challenge Bike Builder? Was that another shooter? That was not me in the 124 Challenge, but you're probably thinking of me going off the road with when I was in New Zealand with Jay Allen riding, and I was checking out the scenery, and those New Zealanders, they ride like maniacs. And I'll tell you, to try to catch a group of riders that are ahead, you got to go fast. And those roads are windy. And just one day, I found myself in some tall grass, off in a ditch, going, what the hell just happened? And the bike was still standing up, and I'm still sitting on the bike. I had a big old goozer, bruised ribs and whatnot. But so that was me in that episode. Hopefully not doing that anymore. I'm going to keep my eye on the road. And actually, that's a lot to do why I sit backwards sometimes. I get better shots without killing myself.
All right, man. Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Michael Lichter, check him out. Check out the Motorcycles as Art exhibit in Sturgis this year. And one more time, buddy, thank you for coming on with us tonight.
Thank you, Michael.
It's been an honor. Thank you guys for doing such a great job at what you do.
See you, Michael.
All right, Michael, later.
See ya.
On.
Bye, Mark.
Bye.
Take care. Thanks.
Okay, so rolling on. I know we're keeping you guys overtime tonight, but hell of a show. So many great people to get to, and we have a couple more things. I just want to remind you, you're watching ShopTalk through the courtesy of Dennis Kirk Motorcycle Studio. Couple events that we need to get through while we have you on the Sturgis subject.
A couple events. Oh my goodness, Sturgis is going to be crazy.
I'm going to try to rock through all of them as quick as I can. So our ride-in bike show, and Heather, you can help me out with this because
all right, our ride-in bike show is Sunday, August 8th. Our registration is from 11 to 3. Awards are at 4 p.m. We are giving away, that is the wrong flyer, but we are giving away a full Paco rolling chassis.
Yes.
We've got some cool prizes coming in, and we're going to do the prizes a little different this year. Everybody who enters a bike is going to have a chance to get a prize because they're going to get a cool little ticket. And I just got word from Pittsburgh Steel City Blacksmithing that they are going to put up a prize for one lucky Sturgis winner to take home with them. If you have not checked them out, please check him out at Steel City Blacksmithing on Instagram. Incredibly talented young man from just down the road from us. So
we talked about this one just a little while ago, but the Full Throttle Saloon Old School Chopper Show. 15th annual.
That's a tradition. If you're not there, that's one of the problems about Sturgis. Well, it's not a problem about Sturgis. There is a different show for every type of motorcycle every day, and the hardest thing is trying to figure out which one you're going to go to. And if you're lucky, you can get to more than one in a day.
New for this year, coming from Daytona. You guys are hip to seeing this in Daytona, but Warren Lane's True Grit is hitting the road and heading out west. That's going to be at the Iron Horse Saloon
on Saturday the 7th, starting at noon till whenever he feels like calling it.
That's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome to have Warren out in Sturgis. I hope we get to spend some time with him. Our Run to the Line, like we said earlier, 15th anniversary of the Sturgis ride. There's more information coming out about that. You guys can see an updated flyer on that real soon. The Vintage Motorcycle Day. This is an appreciation day for AMCA members. If you have a vintage antique motorcycle, you roll in, show them your old bike, get in the exclusive VIP parking, show them your AMCA membership card, you get lunch on us.
And we're going to be doing some old-time field games as requested. So that's a lot of fun on Monday.
We're not screwing around with the field games this year. Just to let you know, we're coming hard with them. So
people have already reached out and asked. Yep. So you better be bringing your A game for that, there, kid.
All right, and the second annual Black Hills Boogie and Chopper Show, Chopper and Vintage Bike Show. This is great, but also what goes along with it is even better, right?
Yes.
Yes, and actually, this is exciting. High Seas Rally has stepped up to sponsor the the contest.
Are you gonna say it? You gonna say it? Holly Hobby, go ahead. The Pimp and Ho Show.
Yeah, so come with your best Disco 70 Pimp and Ho regalia. Bring your old school chopper or vintage bike. It's a great party. I can't remember having that much fun in Sturgis.
It was a lot of fun. Good. Everybody, there wasn't a bunch of people there last year, but everybody that came to have fun, and it was definitely worth it.
What are our prizes? What are our prizes for best pimp and best hoe?
A couple $100 a piece.
And there's disco music and disco dancing, and like it's a minute that you don't have to be a hard ass in Sturgis. You can just have fun and be goofy.
I mean, you know me in events, and I'm not big on events and with all the people and stuff like that. I'm really upset that I'm going to miss a few things this year. This is definitely one of them. This is, if you didn't go last year, don't be shy. Show up, wear something fun, have a good time.
Yeah.
Like Chris even has like zebra print goldfish platform shoes that he wears.
Right. You tell them what's up.
It's so Aaron Green and Melody, they rocked it last year. It was so good.
Mailman and Cheryl.
Oh yeah. Mailman was pimping.
Yeah, he was.
Mailman actually took home a couple $100 last year.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Right on. All right, man. Well, listen, we kept you guys long enough. We're almost hitting 2 hours on this thing. I really, really appreciate Michael and all the builders coming on. I appreciate you guys renting us some headspace and bringing us into your living rooms. And you keep watching it, man. We'll keep doing it. I want to thank Dennis Kirk and all our sponsors. If you look at the top corner way over there, I can't get my finger. Way over there, the top corner, everybody that sponsors us helps get this out every week. We go live with another episode of Shop Talk, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time or thereabout, and 90 to 120 minutes of all the bullshit we can fit. So
next week, will you have next week's guest, right? Do you want to announce that real quick?
We're going to have Michael Ballard and Jesse James Dupree from the Full Throttle Saloon are going to come on and give us a Sturgis rundown. Pat Patterson is going to come on, and we're going to talk about the Sportster Showdown and a few other things with Pat, too, actually.
Yeah.
They got some other events coming up and stuff, So until next week, when we come back and visit with you guys, the same chopper time.
Same chopper channel.
Bye, Felicia.
I love when he says that.